Okay, we are finally live. We made it. Awesome. Thank you for waiting, guys. Thank you for everybody. Hello, awesome people. How you doing today? This is the first live streaming we're doing after a very long time. So I'd like you to use the chat to let me know if you can hear me properly, if you can see me properly, and in general, if everything is going fine. So as you're writing in the chat box, if you can actually hear me properly and you can understand what I'm saying, let me explain why we're live today. Because today we are having a Q&A session. So, what's a Q&A session? A Q&A session is a question and answer session. So basically, I'm going to answer to any questions you guys may have. Already, some of you actually, let me see here. Anyway, okay. Anyway, what did I want to say? I can see you and hear you properly. Okay, thank you so much, Paulino. Awesome, very well. This was great. So, I can see that already many people actually already started to asking me questions using the form I created that you can actually find down here in the description of this live. You can go find in the link, and if you have more questions and if you have other questions, you can always ask in them. Also, you can also you can also ask them right here in the chat box. And as you can see, I'm pretty nervous, pretty anxious because, as I told you, this is my first live streaming after a long while. So if you see me a little bit uncertain, it's because of the long time without streaming. Anyway, I hope everything is fine. So let's begin with the first question. And let me see, the first question was from Irina, that she asked me, what's the difference between grab, take, and hold? And I guess you asked me this question because you watched my last video, which I just recently released yesterday. And you probably saw one of the parts where I was having an example of the difference between the verb to take and the verb to get. And I was explaining how much longer is the idea, the image of the action to take compared to the simple action to get, which goes straight to the point, right? So and in that instance, in that context, I actually mentioned three actions, which is grab, take, and hold. So let me explain what I mean by that. First of all, between these three, take is the general action. So basically, I got some brush pens up here. The action of taking is this one. Just that's it. This is the image of the action take. Voila. The whole movement, from the beginning of the movement till the end of the movement, this is to take. It's a very general action and it can be used for a lot of situations. But in this context, the difference between take and grab is that if this is the brush pen I want to take, all right, the first action I'm doing when I touch it is grab it. So when you are taking something, the first action when your hands reach the object, this is to grab, right? And you can also do it pretty forcibly, like this. This is grabbing, all right? Or you can do it lightly, okay? It's still grabbing. And it's a very important action because when you want to place the emphasis of what you're talking straight on the action of grabbing, this is the movement you're talking about. So you can say, You can say, for example, I need to take some apples from the fridge, or you can say I need to grab some apples from the fridge. If you say I need to grab some apples, you are talking exactly about the action of taking them off the fridge. Say that this is an apple. If you say I need to take, okay, some apples from the fridge, you're just talking about the action just in general. So I hope that this explains the difference between take and grab. Now, let's actually see hold, because hold is a totally different image. Or if you want, if you see with your eyes the action of taking, which we said is this one, all right? I first grab the brush pen, and when it's in my hand, this is when I'm holding the brush pen. So this is exactly the difference. You can hold anything, anything that you can put in your hands, you're holding basically. And also I'm holding a pink brush pen right now, or right now, since I'm a bit thirsty, I'm holding a glass, right? Now I'm holding the glass. If I don't hold the glass, it actually falls down, right? We don't want the glass to fall, so we keep it with our own hands. And when we keep it with our own hands, you say hold. Now you can use this action, hold, in many other situations. But before I explain you that, let me check if there are any messages in the chat box. And I see here that Paulina has a question. So I see that it's not related to this. So as soon as I finish talking about hold, I'm going to answer your question. Now, about hold, I said that it can be used in a lot of situations. For example, maybe you are familiar with the expression hold on, right? So hold on is actually, it's used to say wait. It's another way to say wait, right? So you can say wait a moment. You can say wait a second. Or you can say hold on, right? So when you say hold on, it means that you're asking the other person. So you're asking the other person to hold to what he is about to say. So let's say that I'm always taking this brush, but okay. Anyway, the point is, let's say that this is what the person wants to say, all right, and it starts talking, but you want the person to wait talking, so you say hold on, all right. So hold on the what you're saying, okay, and this in this case it's a brush pen, but hold on to what you're saying, all right, and then you can say it. For example, hold on, Pauline, just a second, and I'm going to answer to you. Absolutely. So this is the way you use hold. There's also an expression which has the same meaning of hold on, which is hold your horses. Hold your horses means that you want your horses, instead of running, you want them to stop, right? Which is the same of hold on. It's just an expression. You can say it's an idiom maybe, but the point is that it's pretty similar. It's just a little funnier when you say hold your horses, man. Hold your horses, please. Then it's just a funnier way to say please wait a second. Okay, so let me see now. So Paulino said, I have one suitable question for you, teacher. I think the connected speech is all about phonetic to understand native people properly, isn't it? I mean, bad sound means bad connected speech. Wow, what a question, Paulino. This is an awesome question. Wow, connected speech. Well, let's talk about it. Let me first understand if I really understood your question. So I think that connected speech is all about phonetic. Yes, connected speech is about phonetic, which is basically the way you speak. And the speech is the actual part of the words that come out. For example, now I am having a speech, for example. So yeah, connected speech means that every word is connected to the next one. And this is a very important thing. Just like you mentioned, it's very important to understand. Well, it's very important in order to understand when native speakers speak and also to speak properly. Now I'm going to make a few example about it. But first, let me see what else. Bad sound means bad connected speech. Well, not entirely, my friend, because unless with sound you mean phonetic, that the two things are not related. But definitely, if you don't connect your words properly, then yeah, that will give you a lot of problems, both when listening, because you won't be able to understand, and with speaking. So now I'm speaking fairly slowly, right? And I'm doing this in order to be completely understood. At the same time, and I'm stopping here already, I just said at the same time. So, in other words, I connected the words. And the first thing you want to know about connected speech is that it works with the rule of doubles, which states basically that every time you have two similar or same sounds together, you are going to say one and only one. So for example, at the same time, I'm going to say at the same time, at the same time. And this is connected speech. As you can see, it's very simple, but it's also very effective. And if you don't actually do that, the speech will sound broken. And broken because now I'm not going to use it, all right? So if I say at the same time, as you can see, is broken. Like it's like there's a little rupture in between words, and I'm saying at the is too many sounds, and this is making your communication very hard to be understood. But if you say at the same time, as you can see, it's all together. And this is the first rule. You can apply it straight away to whatever you're saying, and your phrases, your speech will sound already way better. Now, I'm receiving a few messages, and I just want to make sure that the messages I'm receiving on my phone have nothing to do with this stream. So I'm going to just double check. And actually, okay, so we have a new person coming in, I guess. If I understood the messages, his name is Julio. Let's see if Julio arrives. Meanwhile, let's go ahead. Let me also see here. So Paulina also said grab equals to ask someone to take something. Take equals I take my personal object. Hold I equals I own my personal item. Not quite, my friend. Grab, you can imagine the action of taking, like the whole thing. Like imagine a person taking, for example, my phone, all right, which is right here. Let's say that this is a table, okay? I want to take it. So I'm doing a lot of actions to take it because first of all, I'm reaching the phone, then I'm grabbing the phone, then I'm holding the phone, right? So this is all together in the action to take. So this is it. Like basically it's not that I'm asking somebody to do it, but is the whole action. Whereas grab is just the moment I'm touching it, all right? This is grab. And hold is just a moment of holding it. So this, when I have it in my hand, I hold it. This is to hold. To grab and to take. To take is the whole action. Grab is just one, and Hold is when I have something in my hands. So I hope now it's a little clearer. Let me see what else. Thank you so much for your explanation. Now it's so clear. Awesome. Okay, very happy. Now, meanwhile, I also received a few other questions, and I'm going to put them right here on screen. These ones are the ones I received. These ones are the ones I received through the form you can download down here, and you can always fill in. If I don't see it right now, I'm going to answer to the next session, which I'm going to tell you when I'm doing it, but most likely it's gonna be in a couple of weeks. But meanwhile, let's go with the next one, which is still Paulino, because I took this question from the same video on To Get that I released yesterday. And there was this part of your comment that was very interesting, and it raised a lot of very interesting things that we can talk about right now. So you say, I gotta go, I gonna go. Shall I use the slang examples above? Can people understand me correctly speaking slang? Now, I see multiple questions here, and I'm very glad you are making all these questions because it gives us the possibility to actually talk about this. And probably these same questions are things that many other people are wondering. So I'm sure that by answering now, well, you and I are making a favor to a lot of people. So first of all, I see here that we are saying that gotta and gonna, if I understand, are considered slang. Now, actually, that's not exactly true. Whereas, let me tell you why. A slang is a particular word of set of words that are used just by a selected group of people. So, for example, if you live in an area of a country and there are some words that only you and the people around you use just in that area, that's a slang. But when something is like widespread, which means is all over the world, then we can't say that it's slang anymore, and it's just a way of talking. Now, let's get a little closer to these two expressions, gotta and gonna. And by the way, the pronunciation of the first one is gotta. Gotta using the flap T. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I made a video just on this topic. And it's a very interesting topic. And basically, most of the other countries have this flap T in their languages. It's very simply an R sound. Many other languages have it. Basically, every time you have a T and then a vowel, you're going to make this sound. And it's part of, we can say that it's part of connected speech actually. So this is just to connect with the previous question. But anyway, gotta, we said, right? Now, gotta stands for got to, and got, which is the past of get, that's right, which is what we've been talking about in our last video, the video I released yesterday. Now, I'm going to make a video just on this topic where I'm going to dive deep into it. But to simplify, we can say that got to is just like saying have to. So, for example, I can say I have to, and then you have an action. So I have to speak, right? I have to speak means that your intention, what you feel you want to do, what you need you want to do is speaking. So you say I have to speak. A few seconds ago, I also wanted to drink, right? So I can say I have to drink. Why not? I have to drink. So now we have I have to speak, I have to drink, right? Now we can also say I gotta speak, I gotta drink. What's the difference? Just like we said before, the difference between get and any other action is that get goes straight to the point. So when you use gotta, basically, you are just talking about the action. In this case, was drinking. Okay. So if I say I gotta drink, I'm only referring to drink, and not the actions involved in drinking. This is especially true if you wanna show, if you wanna emphasize the action. For example, you wanna say it because you are very thirsty, which is when you want to drink a lot. So if you're very thirsty, you want to say I gotta drink. This gotta gives a little bit of urgency in it, and this is why we are using it. So it's not slang. Now gonna, you said here I gonna go. There's a mistake here because you actually are going to say I am gonna go, and this is a completely different story. Like it's very different. But before going ahead and explaining, I want to check in the chat box if we have any comments about it. Let me see here. I know slang is spoken in ghettos, poor areas. Well, my friend, not really. Like it can be, but this is just because a ghetto is a part of a city, but also slang is spoken everywhere. Every language has its own slang, and it pertains to a particular part of the population. Often, slang is spoken by kids because they make up their own words. And I used to make my own words when I was growing up, and so me and my friends had no, our set of words that we were using. Adults, they didn't know about those words; they were our own, and that was our own slang, and that slang. It's not necessarily a bad thing, and I'm sure, my friend, that even you too, Paulino, and whoever else you are watching this streaming, I'm sure that you have your own slang. I'm sure that you have your own way of saying something that maybe somebody else doesn't even understand, and it's fine. It's not a problem. So that's slang. Whereas this is proper expressing yourself. Like gotta and gonna are used to properly express yourself. As we just discussed, gotta is used with when you have to do something with a little urgency, and gonna, now I'm going to talk about it. So the structure, like the grammatical structure, is to be, going to, and then the action. So it has nothing to do with gotta, right? In fact, my suggestion, I know that I'm delaying my explanation, but this is because they're so different that my suggestion is to focus on understanding only one at a time. So once you understand gotta, then you move to understand gonna, because they sound similar, but they are very different, and they're used to express very different things. So for example, about this, you can just go about in the next days just mentally repeating the things you have to do using gotta. So I gotta buy some groceries, I gotta go outside, I gotta close the door, I gotta open the door, the car door, I gotta drive till the supermarket, I gotta get off the car, and so on and on and on with every action. This way, you only connect gotta with the action you have to do, right? And you leave gonna alone. Now, let's finally talk about gonna. So, gonna is like we said before, is the union of going and to. Together they become gonna. And they before that you have to be. So for example, I am gonna, and then an action. You are gonna, and then an action. He is gonna, and then an action. And so on and on and on, right? So the whole thing. It's a little bit different to be used, and it's a little more difficult to use because you also have this verb to be in it. And when you're using it, you're using I'm gonna, for example, like here, I'm gonna go is something that is used to express your intention to go. So gotta talks about your need, your internal, when you have to do something. Gonna expresses your intention. So it's something that you are thinking about it. It's not necessarily something you are doing now or even in a minute. Maybe you're gonna do it in a long time. It doesn't matter. Whenever you say gonna, it's because you're expressing your intention to do something. Now, for example, to after maybe you can spend about a week in just mentally repeating actions with gotta, and they are all things that you have to do, not things you have intention. All right, so things that you have to do. Then you can spend a whole week only mentally thinking of things you have an intention to do. What do I mean? I mean literally anything. For example, right now my intention is to continue explaining this topic and making sure that it's clear. So I can say I'm gonna explain this topic. Then after the streaming, my first intention is the one of stopping the streaming. So I'm gonna think I'm gonna stop the streaming. I don't need to do the action. I don't need to be doing the action right now to use gonna. I can think about it for something that I'm doing in the future. So for example, after this streaming, I'm gonna buy some groceries. Yes, after this streaming, I'm gonna go to the supermarket. And then, let me see what else. Tomorrow, which is Sunday, if you are watching this live, tomorrow I'm gonna have a walk. Tomorrow I'm not alone. Irina is with me. So tomorrow we're gonna have a walk. And also on Monday I'm gonna go back to work. So as you can see, you can use it every time you have an intention. And once again, it's not slang. You can use it. You don't need to feel ashamed or to feel poor because you're using it. Let me give you some other examples because it can be used for any actions. When you're mentally thinking that you wanna drink, you can say, I'm gonna drink. In fact, hold your horses, I'm gonna drink. When you're speaking, there's nothing better than drinking some water. It makes you feel like your throat is thanking you. You see this, there's a little man here saying thank you so much because you are refreshing me. So this is how you use gonna, and as we were saying, you can use it for a lot of different things. Every time you have an intention of doing something, anything, in any moment. It can be the very next thing. For example, I'm gonna switch topic in a very short while. Or you can use it to express your intentions for the distant future. For example, I don't know, in 20 years, I'm gonna, what am I doing in 20? No idea what I'm doing in 20 years, but in 20 years, I'm gonna visit Brazil. Yeah. But when you say it, it's because you have an intention. So let me see if there are other questions. And if there aren't, I'm going to dive a little deeper here on this topic of intentions. Let me see. Thanks for all the infos. Gotta and gonna checked and added to my vocabulary. Oh, I'm very glad of it, my friend. Now, let me dive a little deeper in gonna because as you can see, we can use it when we are talking about the future. I'm going to make a video on this topic because in a video I can dive in more details and I have the help of the graphic to help me out with everything. But I'm sure that this is also practice for you in order to listen to some English and do some practice of English listening without subtitles also. And this is a very important thing. So let's go ahead with gonna, and we want to understand now when to use it because we talked about intentions, right? The intentions can be for something that you want to do now or something you can want to do even in a distant future. We can also say that man man is gonna disappear from Earth in a million years. In a million years, man is gonna disappear. I actually don't know, I made it up. But this was just to show you that you can use it even for very distant things very often in the future. Now, when to use it? We can see it comparing gonna with will. So I know that many of you can use already the word will to speak about the future and say things like I will go buy some groceries after this streaming or I will move to Brazil once again. Yes, I'm thinking about Brazil right now. So I will move to Brazil. Let's take this one here. If I say I will move to Brazil, means that I don't have a real intention of doing it. It's something that in a future is possible. So it's something that in the future I may be doing. If I say I'm gonna visit Brazil, it's because I have an intention. And it's probably because maybe I'm thinking of buying the plane ticket, or maybe I've already bought the plane ticket. Now, I can also say, for the same thing, I can also say I'm going to Brazil, or I'm visiting Brazil. I'm visiting Brazil maybe next year. How can I say that? I can say I'm visiting Brazil when I have already bought the ticket and I'm sure I'm actually doing it. So I can say I'm visiting Brazil next year. So this is gonna put them into a scale from very certain to very uncertain. When you are very certain you're doing something in the future, you can use a simple ing to talk about it. Always when you're using ing in a phrase, remember to use to be. So once again, next year I'm visiting Brazil. This is certain. It's something that I'm certain I'm doing it for sure because I bought the tickets. I know I'm having some time off for work. I'm having some time off from work. So I know all of these things. It's certain I'm visiting Brazil, so I can use ing. But if I want to talk about an intention, and maybe it's a real intention because either I bought the tickets or I maybe already organized when I'm doing it, maybe already took my time off from work, then I can say I'm gonna visit Brazil next year. So you are stating your intention. But if it's just something that you want to do, you don't know when you're doing it, then you can say, I will visit Brazil next year. I hope this part was clear as well, my friend. My friends all, actually. I'm gonna drink some more water because my throat is really asking it. And I'm gonna see if there are any questions in the chat box. Paulino, thank you so much for asking all of these questions because you're really keeping this streaming live. So congratulations. What's the difference between calm down and hold your horses? I think the first one add less emphasis when speaking than hold your horses. For example, the second one I shall use when I'm surrounded by BP, which I don't know what you mean by BP. But anyway, beside BP, so what's the difference between calm down and hold your horses? Okay, now I'm going to tell you about it. I think the first one adds, I just want to correct you, okay, so that this is also going to be useful for you and for anyone else that is actually looking at the phrase right now. When you are talking about something in third person, always remember to add a little s at the end of the action. So you can say, I think the first one adds less emphasis. It's written with it's spelled with instead of a y, with a final y, you're gonna finish it with an I. No, hold on. Emphasis. Yeah, no, I and S, that's it. And I wanted to show this using Google, using a web page in Google, but unfortunately, I don't know what happened. So anyway, I hope you understood how the spelling is. Let me see. So I think the first one adds less emphasis when speaking than hold your horses. So calm down and hold your horses. They are actually very different, my friend. So let me take this off. Okay. So calm down, and it comes to my mind a song which is recently very popular. Calm down. Calm down is the action of calming a person down. As you can see, look at my hands, down, right? So calm down. When you say calm down, right, you are asking the person to relax. Maybe because it's agitated. So you say calm down, calm down. Always when you are trying to understand new words in English, always try to look at their images. Always, especially when it comes to phrasal verbs, which are basically actions plus direction, up, down, in, out, and so on. We're gonna talk about it too another time anyway. When you say calm down, you wanna look at it as in calm when you are relaxing. To calm means to relax, okay? Down, all right, means to diffuse attention. Imagine that you have a lot of tension built up. Maybe you are agitated for some reason. Then your tension is up, right? So when I'm asking you to calm down, I'm asking you to relax and chill. Yes, calm down. Which, by the way, is what I was saying to myself at the beginning of this streaming. When I was started streaming, the first minutes, I was very agitated, yes. I was very nervous. So I said to myself, calm down, right? I didn't say to myself, hold your horses, because the images are very different. In fact, when you say hold your horses, you want to imagine you are riding a horse, all right? So you're on a horse and you're clapping, and then you want to hold the horse. So you how do you say, you pull up the reins? Yeah, so you pull up the reins, okay, which is, the reins are the little cords attached, the little ropes, sorry, not cords, the little ropes attached to the horse. And when you pull them, you are holding, so it's like you are keeping. If this was the horse, okay, you kept your horse still, you kept it not moving, the horse is not moving, so you stopped. Imagine you were actually using a horse to go somewhere. If you hold the horse, you stop. So when you say hold your horses, you are literally asking the person to stop. So hold your horses, you stop, calm down, relax. Very different. Used in very different situations, especially, my friend. Just like in any other language, if there's a situation of tension, you might want to use calm down. But if you want to ask somebody just to hold on, then you can say hold your horses, and it's a very nice expression. It's pretty funny, and it makes the atmosphere relaxed and lively, light. Whereas if you say calm down, it's usually said when there's some tension. So if there wasn't any tension, as soon as you say calm down, the other person is perceiving that as like an attack, because hey, I was calm, but now you're telling me to calm down. Why? So to avoid this, all right, always keep in mind the images of what you're saying, and this way you are perfectly good to go. So let me see if there are any more questions. Irina says, so for example, I can say tonight I'm having pizza, right? Yes, Irina, absolutely. You can say tonight I'm having pizza. Perfect. Perfect example. Yes, absolutely. Because we are certain we are having pizza tonight for real. So for this reason, definitely you can say that. Exactly. Now let me see. I actually have, I think I, no, I have another about 10 minutes. So we can see if there are other, let me see if I can answer to some more questions. I recently received another question from Suzanne. Hello, Suzanne. If you're watching this live or if you're watching this recorded, but anyway, she asks, start and beginning are same. Now, first of all, this question you want to actually, it contains a mistake because you want to say start and beginning are the same, all right? But let me actually answer to this question so you can better understand the difference between start and begin. So, first of all, both these are actions and nouns. So you can say to start, which is an action, or you can say the start, which is a moment. You can say to begin, which is an action, and you can say the beginning. And this is why before I corrected you, but by looking at your phrase a little better, I can see that you were talking about the actions to start and to begin. So to better answer this one, I'm going to use another tool which I'm fairly positive that will work, which is actually this. Yes, okay, this is working. This is a second webcam. And to show you the difference, to make you understand the difference between start and begin, I'm going to draw a simple line like this. And this is a timeline, right? So basically, we are talking about something and then the moment something has started, and then it picked up momentum in time. So basically, this is a little line, and this one here is what you are starting. Now, look at this. Start is right here. This is start. Start is the moment something starts. For example, I started this streaming a few minutes late because my computer was updating the software. So I'm talking about the moment the moment the streaming started. So this is to start. It can be to start or the start. If you are watching it, if you are talking about to start, we are talking about this as an action, or if you're saying the start, we're talking about the first moment. Now, begin, on the other hand, begin, or actually the beginning, is a whole period. This is beginning. Beginning. This is the beginning. The beginning is not just a moment, but is a whole period, a whole, the first period of something. So, for example, you can say that in the beginning, learning English is very difficult because you start from zero. And for the first reason, the beginning is very difficult. Then the more you know the language, the easier it becomes simply because you know more. But the beginning of anything actually is the hardest moment. So this is the beginning. And then we have also to begin. And to begin is the action of beginning something. So, for example, if I say I want to, maybe I want to lose weight, okay? So I say that I want to begin eating less. So if I want to lose weight, it's because I feel too fat, okay? Not really, but it's just an example. And to actually losing some fat, I want to begin eating less. Now, of course, I will start from the first day where I start eating less, but I want to begin eating less. I don't want that eating less is just one day where maybe I eat, I don't know, maybe half a portion of my normal meal, and then the next day I go on with my regular, with my regular eating habits. No, I want to begin eating less because I want this to be the beginning or of something that is gonna continue with time. So I really hope that I made you understand the difference between starting and beginning, or better, between starting and, oh, all right, so between the start and to begin, or between the start and the beginning. Now let me check in the chat box if there are any more questions on this topic. There aren't any more questions on this topic, and also we actually got to the end of this first live streaming sessions where I answer to all your questions. We're going to have these sessions quite regularly, almost every Saturday. Just the next Saturday I won't be available, but for the coming Saturdays, I will try to keep it a weekly appointment, week after week. And if you want to ask questions and you want to see them up here in the box up here with your name next to it, you only need to fill in the form that you can download down here in the description of this video or streaming. And it's a very easy form. It just asks you your name and your question. You then press submit, and I receive the question. I can prepare in advance so I can give you a better answer whenever is the streaming available. Now you're going to see my next streaming as soon as I organize it. So probably I'm going to organize it next week, and you can see it in the live tab of this channel. And as soon as you see it, you can just press on notify me. This way you will know exactly when I'm going live, and you won't miss your question answered live by me. And this way also you can participate to the discussion. You can ask other questions, and I'll be right here with answering every question I see. So let me see. I see, Paulino, which you're awesome, my friend, because you have a lot of questions. Let me see if I can answer to your question now, or maybe if it's a long answer, I'm going to answer to the next time. So difference between however and anyway. I think however is used in the first moment we are speaking with someone. Meanwhile, anyway, and at the end of the conversation. That's an interesting question, but I believe that this is something that I'm going to answer next time because it takes a little time to set the answer up. So I'm going to keep it. You don't need to use the form because it's right here. I'm going to answer to this question the first time as the first thing as soon as we go back live in a couple of weeks. So it's all for today. It's been awesome to see you guys. Thank you so much for being here with me. And thank you, Paulina, for being so chatty. Chatty means that you like to talk. And this is great because you give me and you give us the possibility to ask a lot of questions that maybe we had, but we didn't know we had yet. So thank you very much. Thank you, Irina, and thank you to whoever was here with us that participated in this live or maybe is watching this later on. Yeah. This is part of the live. Anyway, you guys have an awesome weekend. I wish you the best, and I'll see you now, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Take care. Cheers.